Chinese artificial intelligence company rocked U.S. tech giant stocks.
Well, so far, the Dow itself as a whole is pretty flat at about 60 points. But Deepseek, the low-cost, fast-growing AI assistant, has really done a number on tech stocks. Yesterday, the Dow gained 289 points. The Nasdaq was dragged down 612 points. And the S&P 500 fell 88 points. Also lower today, of course, those tech stocks, but the market overall pretty flat. Deepseek rose to #1 on the Apple App Store over the weekend. It is a growing rival for OpenAI and ChatGPT. President Trump says the app has shocked the United States.
The release of Deepseek AI from a Chinese company should be a wake-up call for our industries that we need to be laser focused on competing to win, because we have the greatest scientists in the world.
Yes, this was surprising to many. Joining us now is Aimee Picchi, Associate Managing Editor for CBS MoneyWatch. And thank you so much for being with us this morning to dive into this. You know, I think the biggest concern I'm seeing that's been flagged overnight is that the company isn't really hiding what it wants from users. It's saying directly on its site, the personal information we collect from you may be stored on a server located outside the country where you live. They're going to store this information located in the People's Republic of China. Should we not find this very concerning?
Yeah, there are a lot of experts raising questions about this right now already. Officials in Australia are raising privacy concerns. The privacy statement for Deepseek says that it's going to store a lot of your information from your date of birth, personal data such as keystroke patterns from your phone. So when you type, on the phone, it's going to collect that and store that in China. So definitely it's raising a lot of concerns about, how that data could be used, who could access that data. And there aren't a lot of answers at this point about that. But I think given what we've seen from TikTok and concerns over TikTok, another Chinese company that right now is is facing a potential ban, that this company could also raise similar issues. The thing is that Deepseek really just came out of the blue in some respects, at least in the wider consciousness of Americans. And so I think it's going to take a while for consumers, lawmakers, privacy experts to kind of go through this and figure out, well, what is actually happening here and how much data are they collecting and what are the risks for the U.S. and consumers.
Yeah, just kind of burst on the scene. For those of us who don't pay as close attention to these things as maybe someone like you, chip maker Nvidia lost $593 billion of its value. That marks the single biggest one-day loss for a company in the stock market in history, according to Forbes. So what does this mean for the American tech industry more broadly, for other American AI companies?
Yeah, I mean, this was a real shock when we saw it, as you mentioned, in Nvidia stock price yesterday. And Nvidia, I'll just mention in the last 5 years, the stock price is up almost 2,000%, even with yesterday's decline. Over that same period, the S&P is up about 86%. So you can see it's just really shot upwards, and it's become one of the most valuable U.S. companies up there with Apple and Microsoft. So this is a real blow, because of the valuation, but the valuation is so high because of the promise of AI that investors have been saying, this is really the future of technology, and we are going to give it that valuation because we think it's going to be worth so much more in the future because of what we see AI as being capable of doing and the advancements. A lot of experts had thought the U.S. was about a year ahead of China in terms of AI. So I think this is one of the big blows with DeepSeek coming out with this model yesterday that rivals ChatGPT, is realizing, well, maybe the U.S. isn't that far ahead. And so that gives a real blow to, well, what is the future of these companies that are investing, the U.S. companies that have been investing billions of dollars in developing their AIs. And DeepSeek reportedly spent $6 million to develop its AI app. So you can see there's like a huge difference in spend there. So I think it's really causing a lot of these companies and investors to question, how much do we really need to invest in this? What are the economics of AI, and what is this going to look like going forward?
Well, that's what I wanted to ask you about. There's comparisons I've seen this morning being made to the space race, where ultimately we in the United States were beat by Russia. It seems like this relatively small Chinese upstart, you said $6 million is what they've said they've invested, now outperforming us in terms of our best that we have to offer, OpenAI's ChatGPT, Meta's Llama, et cetera. What does this really boil down to for the United States if they can do this faster and more efficient?
Well, I think that's a really good question. I think right now we know OpenAI and Meta are looking at what DeepSeek did and trying to figure out how they did it and re-examining their own processes and how they're going to move forward with it. At the same time, I mean, on the face of it, OpenAI, Sam Altman yesterday came out and said, praised DeepSeek, said that it's invigorating to have a new competitor. So, I mean, it is possible this could be a Sputnik moment where a lot of these companies kind of re-examine what they're doing and what they're spending and how they're approaching it. At the same time, AI takes a lot of data. It takes, massive data centers. And we saw just last week, President Trump announced a $500 billion Stargate effort, which is a joint venture with SoftBank, OpenAI, and Oracle. And they're building massive data centers across the US. I think eventually they're going to build 20 of them. And these things cost a lot of money to build. So, I mean, you might have like an AI app that's developed relatively quickly, but to fuel that and to scale up, you need these giant data centers that do cost a lot of money. So I think there's sort of a tension there in terms of, how can you scale it up? How can you build it? And that remains to be seen. But at this point, the US is investing, the private sector and the public sector is investing billions in developing this tech. So we'll have to see how that plays out.
All right, Aimee Picchi, thank you for breaking it down for us. It is a kind of complicated issue. Thank you.